Hello, everybody. Welcome along to another Benjamin Bloom show. We are here talking today's football stories. Football is back, thank God, and we're all arguing already, which is wonderful. Lots to talk about today in the wake of yesterday's first games back at Villa and at Manchester City. More tonight as we speak. Indeed, the League Two playoffs are going on. If you are watching live on YouTube right now, please get involved in the chat and say hello. Hit that thumbs up button. If you're watching on Twitter, you can also get involved, but why not head over to YouTube and subscribe there if you're watching on delay. Please get involved in the comments after the fact. So lots to talk about, as it says down in the topics. We're talking about the ghost goal that dominated yesterday at Villa. We're talking about players taking the knee during the games after the whistle had gone for the game starting. We're talking about David Luiz. We're talking about Timo Werner. We're talking about the culture secretary saying fans may come back in September. More test results, a weird kickoff at Millwall to talk about, and those League Two playoffs. Hello, everybody in the chat. Blaze Talk, Charlie, Oliver. Taxman says hello from Northern Ireland. Ali says, did I have the crowd noise on? Yes, I did on Sky Main Event. Let's talk about the ghost goal first of all. And did we need a controversial thing? I was kind of pleased we got one, really, because it showed us what we've all been missing. We all know what I am talking about. The ghost goal at Villa Park yesterday. I think it was 41 minutes, wasn't it? Norwood free kick into the back post. Nyland in goal for Villa, catches it. I think he's bumped over the line by his own guy, kind of rolls into the side net and pulls the ball back. Clearly appeared to go over the line now. I think we've moved on from yesterday when I was hedging my bets, having not seen the Hawkeye. Although, if you watch back my reviews, I said, and I was right, if Hawkeye has got that going over the line, they are not going to show us that, because that will out their technology as possibly not working, whether it's once in 9,000 times or once in 90,000. They're never going to show us not working, are they? And we've got some quotes and some responses on this. The people who developed Hawkeye I think they were asked for comment during the game by the Sky guys and managed to get something out by the end of it. They say during the first half of Villa Sheffield United at Villa Park, there was a goal line incident where the ball was carried over the line by Aston Villa goalkeeper number 25, Nyland. The match officials did not receive a signal to the watch nor earpiece as per the GDS goal decision system protocol. So that immediately absolves the referee. The 7 cameras located in the stands around the goal area were significantly occluded by the goalkeeper, defender, and goalpost. This level of occlusion, I don't know how many linguists we've got in the chat here, but I've never heard the word occluded or occlusion before, has never been seen before in over 9,000 matches that the Hawkeye goal technology system has been in operation. That sounds a little bit like an apology, doesn't it? Unprecedented. 1 in 9,000 chance of that happening. All 7 cameras apparently obscured. In respects of the watch going off, although, it did seem that we had a couple of camera angles that seemed fairly conclusive, but obviously they want the Hawkeye one. The PGMOL said under the IFAB protocol, the VAR is able to check goal situations. However, due to the fact that the on-field match officials did not receive a signal and the unique nature of that, the VAR did not intervene. Honestly, I'm fine with that. I know a lot of people have had the common sense argument, but the whole thing with goal line tech and VAR was black and white, matters of fact, wasn't it? And their protocol says, right, we've got goal line tech. If the watch goes off, it's a goal, back to halfway, and VAR can check the goal. If the watch doesn't go off, play on, no goal. That's what it says. So that absolves VAR and it absolves the referee as well. That's what they've been told. I can see comments here. Let's have a look here. Stephen says the linesman was absolutely bang in line. Agreed. Noel says refs have to grow a pair and demand a second glance. Sandra says, why if they admit the ball went over, why can't they give it after the event? And Ollie says, don't the refs listen to the players? They've got a system, they've got a protocol, and that's what they're hiding behind, isn't it? So Chris Wilder, the statements come out, unprecedented, unbelievable. That's the balance. We're waiting for somebody. I don't know who it was at Stockley Park to show a bit of courage, stick their chest out and say, I'll make that decision. But if they say they haven't seen it and 7 cameras haven't seen it, I suppose he's going to say it can't make that decision. Maybe there needs to be, I don't know how you would word it, an exceptional override or something like that. Smash glass, hit red button in case of emergency, where it appears beyond reasonable doubt that the technology has failed. Maybe they'll write that in. Or will they just say they're happy with a 1 in 9,000 chance? Remember, from a scientific point of view, I think Dan was talking about the science of it. We know if it's 1 in 10,000 chance that's within 0.01%, isn't it? So we know the accuracy is strong even with 9,000. That is not going to appease any Sheffield United fans who wanted that goal, and especially given how flat the second half was, could have been a winning goal. So really interesting. Blaze Talk says VAR should have gotten involved. It's clear and obvious, in my opinion. Yeah, it is clear and obvious, but in respects of that definition, there's no mistake. The ref didn't make a mistake. The goal line technology didn't tell him anything. So there is nothing clear and obvious to go against, despite the fact we can all see a picture of the goal going in. It's all semantics, isn't it? It's all wording and protocol, but I can see their way out of it, and I can see absolutely nothing being done about it. And I think the only way something will be done about it is if it happens again relatively soon, in their 1 in 9,000 chance. So there we go. Stephen says, where's the condemnation of Nyland, who has absolutely cheated? No ifs, buts, he has cheated. Yeah, I guess he has. By the letter of the definition, he's cheated. He's moved forward. But come on, what about Neuer, Lampard? He pulled the ball back over the line. Every time a player appeals for a throw-in that they know is not theirs, that's effectively trying to signal and influence the ref, isn't it? Ewan says the ref did make a mistake, though, because he didn't give a clear goal. Again, Ewan, it's not the ref's jurisdiction on goal line technology. I mean, I know this brings up arguments in what's the point of refs and why don't we just ref it from the 7 cameras if that's the case. But if it's not his jurisdiction, he holds his hands up and says, if it doesn't beat, it's not my fault. So there is a mistake, yes, but by the letter of what they're written, there is no mistake. And Dan agrees with me there. VAR can't overturn a decision where no decision was made. And there's no mistake because the ref is relying on the watch. So he didn't make a mistake. The technology went wrong. Little Crow says the players were remarkably restrained, not surrounding the ref unless they weren't entirely sure either. Maybe they were social distancing. Now, I don't think they were sure these things happen so quickly. Blaze Talk says, depending on the outcome of the season, can see some lawsuits going in. I don't think we're going to see any lawsuits, I have to say. I think this will blow over and be forgotten. I'll read Carl. I've only spent all day with him. There we go. He says we have VAR to correct it. Again, VAR will only correct a mistake by the letter of the rules. There is no mistake because the ref didn't make the mistake. It was the technology making the mistake, and the ref goes by the technology. That's how they're going to get out of it. But there you go. I'm sure no one's buying this, but it is what it is, isn't it? Oliver says the day VAR comes into the championship, I stop going. Taxman says Thierry Henry against Ireland. If we're talking about cheating, there we go. Handball, that one. I remember that one indeed. Villa players knew it was a goal, and certainly the 2 Villa players closest knew it was a goal, didn't they? I remember, here comes the Leeds argument. Remember how Bielsa gave a goal back despite scoring a properly legal goal? Double standards. Some double standards, but it's not. I think it is a false equivalence. When a goal is scored unfairly against you, I think that is a bigger stretch than one not actually happening because of a mistake, etc. So Ewan says, so if the ref doesn't give a penalty and made no decision, the VAR can't give a penalty. Yes, it can, because the ref has made a mistake. That is the ref's jurisdiction. The goal line tech is not the referee's jurisdiction. We cannot get cross with the ref here. If you agree to go to work and you are told on matters of goal line technology, you are to respond to the watch, that is what you are doing, then the ref has done his job. You can argue until you're blue in the face, but that was the instruction he had when he walked onto the pitch. And Michael Oliver, his nose is clean on this one, I am afraid, whether we like it or not. That's the small print, and we just have to go with it, I'm afraid. But I'm sure Rumble. Get your thoughts in the comments. Plenty of good stuff coming in on that. I respect everybody's opinion. I'm just reiterating. I'm trying to look at it as to why they've gone the way they've gone, and it's all written down. You can follow it all. There's clear kind of a clear line of what they've done. I've just flashed that up along the bottom. Please vote for me. Football Content Awards. The deadline is midnight tonight. Vote for me. Best in video, creator or vlogger. Just go to the Football Content Awards, the website. Just type it in, and it'll be, I think it's the very first set of things to vote on. Just click on the drop-down box. It'll say Benjamin Bloom. I would love to be given an award for waffling about football. That's what I'm doing right now. We love it, don't we? Let's just pull the comments back up and have a look. Yeah, Dan says 0.1% failure rate is amazing. That means the goal line technology is amazing and reliable. Dan, of course you're right, but football fans don't care about the 0.1% if the 0.1% is against them. And I kind of agree with them, but we're never going to get perfect technology. It is going to fail, but there we go. We've got to put this one up for self-interest here. You should be in for best singer, lad, said Blaze Talk. I actually read that in a Sheffield accent. I'm not going to try and do a Yorkshire accent because I'll offend all of my friends. Well, lots of clubs in Yorkshire. Okay, I don't want to offend them by saying all the accents are the same as well. We're going to go one more content because I like Little Crow's content. Clearly, there's no way they can award 3 points after a mistake like that. How about an even less satisfying addition to goals scored? Right, moving on. Oh, God, from one lovely controversial thing to another. Taking a knee. The players in both games took a knee after the kickoff. So during the game, they made their anti-racism statement. Obviously, there is nothing controversial about being against racism. I'm sure everybody in the chat and watching is against racism. Racism's rubbish, isn't it? It's stupid, if you ask me. I do not get it. I don't get any type of identity politics, really. I don't think I should be judged as a man or a white man or a long-haired man or an Ipswich man. And certainly, I don't think you should be judged on the pigmentation of your skin. I think we can all get behind that. However, the taking a knee, we've had Dominic Raab get into some hot water today talking about what taking a knee means here. A joint statement from Villa and Blades said in the first Premier League fixture of Project Restart, both clubs hope that the act of taking a knee will send a strong message of unity and amplify the many messages of support from Premier League players and the wider football family. The directors of both clubs, Dean Smith, Chris Wilder, Jack Grealish and Billy Sharp, and the players of United and Villa are in full support of this action. The issue that's now coming up is the fact that to take a knee means something different to an English person than it does to a Colin Kaepernick in America, i.e. that in sort of European feudal culture, taking a knee was to submit yourself to a ruler, whereas what Colin Kaepernick was doing was not standing for the national anthem. Please stand for the national anthem. No, I'm not going to stand. So let's just bring up Tim's comment here. Very controversial. I thought you were a member of the Wookiee race. There we go. So, yeah, people are now starting to say, do I need to kind of kneel to someone to subjugate myself? Is that wholly appropriate? We had lots of comments saying that they like kick racism out of football as a kind of thing, and football had their internal thing. And We've had people having problems with Black Lives Matter, despite the fact, and I will reiterate, that no doubt everybody thinks that racism is stupid and dumb and supports the cause. It's just how it's been delivered. A lot of people have brought up to me the example of James McClain and the poppy. And now, what if there's one player who doesn't feel comfortable taking a knee? Should they go quietly and just do it for a quiet life? It's become a controversial thing. Let's bring up some comments here. Lee says, honestly, I believe the majority of people aren't racist. Just the bad are highlighted and therefore everyone is bad. Probably some truth in that. Noel says, was it me or was there one Arsenal player that did not take the knee? I do not know. Number 23, I think, Eddie's back to camera. Kickoff. Bailey says, taking a knee here in America was very controversial. Tell us more, Bailey. No, yes, Grealish has been charged with driving offences. Yes, let's talk about that later on. Olive, I understand it's racism and it has to be stopped, but why do that? It's all political. Why can't people decide if they want to take a knee or not? And I mean, we've discussed this before as well. Essentially, the Premier League and football clubs are private employers. So it's basically being done on work time as well. I think people had issues with that. Look, I'm giving it a wide berth. I'm going to let the commenters talk about it, but I can see why people want to support. Obviously, I can see the players. Visually, it looks great. Here are 22 role models and managers on the side, all making a stand. Brilliant. We hate racism. Of course we do. But I can also see why. I think people don't like to be bashed over the head with anything, really. And I think there might be a sense now with Black Lives Matters on every shirt and taking a knee during a game, that's the people who are kind of, worried about the way it's being portrayed and driven. Some people, again, then might have the reverse argument that it's that important that it should be driven that way. So as you can see, even in my talking, I'm moving bit by bit all of the time. So, yeah, Kieran says, anything to show that nobody agrees with racism is a good thing. So that's the black and white, if you'll excuse the term in this context, thing. Yeah, it is a good thing to show that we do not agree with racism. And if that does it, then great. Bailey says, I think it's different for what's happening in the Prem because in the NFL, the knees were taken during the singing of the anthem and when saluting the flag, which had many, especially veterans, angry. Yes, indeed. Heretic says, was at a Black Lives Matter rally in Leeds Sunday. Brilliant speaker talked about how she will never kneel down as she had to stand up all her life, but it comes a principle. She was brilliant. Okay, that's very, very interesting. And I just get the idea now that there's a couple of things where I think the name Black Lives Matter, people have been upset with that, and the image of kneeling has upset people as well. So it's very, very tricky, isn't it? Anyone who says it's really simple to talk about is lying, because it's just not. Dan says, for me, there's a certain irony that they're doing all this when there is no BAME people on the EFL, EPL, and English FA boards. Yep, there's a certain irony in all of the in the kind of lack of diversity. But I will say, and I have said before, that I don't believe the way to solve diversity is by forced diversity. That seems like an overcorrection to me. And whilst I don't have any consolation for the people who've been oppressed in the past, other than to say, please be patient, I don't believe that an overcorrection is the right thing to do as well. But I would love to see nice, diversity all around. There we go. I'm talking about this a lot now. It's very, very, very difficult not to upset anyone. And I'm not even going to say on either side, because it's not binary at all. There's people all over the place on this, isn't it? We don't want to make it just a kind of left-right thing. Let's just quickly read Bailey's comment, because it does pertain to Kaepernick and the NFL. But now the NFL leadership and everyone in the NFL is disassociating kneeling from the flag. So I expect much more to come of it in the NFL season as before. For Kaepernick, kneeling ended his career. Interesting. I don't know a lot about the NFL. I don't know a lot about Kaepernick from a sports position, but obviously I've read a lot politically. Let's talk about David Luiz, who had his own type of nightmare last night. David Luiz, horrible performance by him at Manchester City for Arsenal, all over the place, came on as a sub. Mistake for a goal, then a penalty and a red card, all within 25 minutes. Noel says, by the way, how bad are Arsenal and Sideshow Bob looking for another contract? Here comes a 20-minute warning for my dinner there. Look at that. So we will rush on through and get all of this done. Bailey says, David Luiz is the worst player ever. I'm not sure about that. Doesn't know how to defend and thinks he's a striker. He's done pretty well for the worst player ever, but someone maybe a lot more qualified than any of us to say, was it Carragher or Neville, said he's been fooling things forever. Let's go with this one from Lee. It says, David Luiz, ha 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 ha. There we go. We got quotes. He's spoken to the dressing room, says Mikel Arteta. David is someone who's very honest, straightforward. I'm sure he'll talk to you guys and explain, and he did. At least he came out and owned it. It's not the team's fault. It was my fault today. I think the team did well, especially with 10 men. The coaching is amazing. The players are amazing. It's my fault. We often see younger players are kind of told, look, don't admit any weaknesses. But I think with older players, and they don't need quite as much pushing in the media. Kind of nice to see David Luiz kind of come out and own it, isn't it? Right, Timo Werner is the next story signed. That's all done other than the medical. So Red Bull, I'm not supposed to say Red Bull Leipzig. RB Leipzig forward Timo Werner, subject to a medical, will arrive at Chelsea for 50 million euros, 45 million quid, to trigger a release clause. Werner will earn £9 million per season. Incredible. Let's see how he gets on there. At Chelsea, speaking of money, what a tenuous link here. You can, if I press that button, you can get ad-free content and support the channel here on Patreon at patreon.com/BenjaminBloom. Help me on my journey to hopefully bigger things. And without the sub story, I'm going to be without the same employment as I have at the moment, let's just say in September. I'd love to make all of this YouTube channel and Patreon part of my income rather than my hobby that I do outside of work. I'll be able to do a better job, and by God, it would be great. So if you fancy support me, patreon.com/BenjaminBloom. I think it's like $5 a month you can support me for. So that would be absolutely wonderful. Let's just do a couple of Arsenal comments. Dan says, I've gone Charles Leclerc, my other half communicating in a live chat. We gotta use what we can. Hey, Charlie says, come and work at B&M. Charlie works at the B&M. We've joked about this before, just round the corner. Although I don't talk to my missus about all the B&M lorries going over the causeway there. The cause of much consternation in my village, let's just say. Right, more testing figures here for the EFL. 12 individuals from English Football League clubs have tested positive for coronavirus in the past week. That is 12. The EFL said 8 cases from 6 championship clubs. So that sounds like either 3 at one and 5 at one, or more likely 2 at one, 2 at one, and 4 at the others, if I've added that all up, right, 1 each for Sean says on Werner's contract, 9 million a year. What constitutes a year with COVID? About 18 months, I think. EFL, 6 from championship clubs. Brentford publicly confirming 1 case. So if that is a first-team player, they will not be playing against Fulham on Saturday. The other 4 tests came at 2 League One clubs. Remember, we're only testing the 4 playoff teams in League One and League Two. I think Oxford had 2 the previous week. No positive results at 4 League Two clubs. They're all playing right now. I'm sure someone will smarten us up in the chat as to how the first playoff semi-final is going. I believe that kicked off at 5:15. So we should be approaching half-time in that one. Bristol City said on Tuesday 1 person from their club had tested positive in that round as well. So we're going to start to see players missing games now because of their isolation, and we wish them all very well, although the majority of them appearing to be asymptomatic. Dan says, good to hear that Marco has had 2 negative tests and back in training. Yes, the Norwich player was outed as Marco Stiepermann, who is a very annoying player if you don't support the team he's playing for, but obviously a very, very good player. So who have we got here? Lee says it is 0-0. Who is it today? Is it Cheltenham and Exeter, is it? Bailey said Exeter apparently decided not to play any friendlies prior to this massive game. Thoughts on that? Bad idea in respects of fitness, good idea in respects of not risking anyone. Thank you, Sean. 38 minutes, 0-0. Oh, Colchester v Exeter. Oh, I've got a vested interest in this because we could get Ipswich and Colchester in the same division next season. Obviously, from my travel plans, if I want to see that game, I would rather go to Colchester than Exeter. There you go. Let me know in the chat. Where would you rather go, Colchester or Exeter? Right. Ollie Dowden has spoken again from the government, the culture secretary, and he does have a say in this. And it's about fans returning to stadiums. I get asked about this all the time. He says, I would hope that by the return of the new season, which we think will be mid-September, although I heard some in the know stuff that maybe late August is being looked at, although looking at those Champions League dates, that might not be too possible. I really hope that by return of the new season, we might be in a position whereby some fans would start to return to stadiums. I know that would be another important part of returning the financial position. Clearly, we will not look at, Clearly, we will not only look at the positioning of fans and where they are relative to each other, but there is all the issues with how you get in and out of relative stadiums in a safe way. But you have to access conveniences and everything else. So this could be very, very interesting. I've said all along, my position in this is the second that they can get fans, even if it's 10 of them, even if it's 100 in a 40,000 stadium, as soon as they can get fans in there, they will get fans in there. So fingers crossed that will happen soon. I'm sure everyone will play ball and do it safely. Some people are going to miss out. My Norwich friends have told me about the 80% occupation, but obviously we need to shield the more elderly fans there. Anyone pregnant going, anyone with asthma really shouldn't be going in until things are a bit more stable. But I, for one, will gladly go in. I will go in early. I will let them spray me. I will wear a mask. I will sit 10 seats away from anyone. I will not buy one of those miniature bottles of wine. I will not use the toilets. If they let me go into the football, I'm happy to play ball on this. Generation TRS80 says, Exeter any day, every day. Okay, I haven't been to Colchester. He's got a Newcastle base. Can you imagine driving from Newcastle to Exeter? That would probably take you about 7 or 8 hours. Goodness me. Gareth says, could the Timo Werner situation affect the Big Kev one? Recall? Is he at Red Bull Leipzig? Interesting. Possibly. Is he fit though, Gareth? Werner going to Chelsea. Leipzig have loaned John Kevin Augustin to Leeds. We'll see how well those contracts were written on either side. Charlie says Colchester have a very nice stadium, to be fair. Just don't use that park and ride. It gets completely snarled up when massive teams like Ipswich are there. Right, quickly, because my dinner is on the way. Millwall versus Borough. This is an interesting one. As it's a massively long journey, this was scheduled for Wednesday, the 8th of July. It was scheduled for Tuesday the 7th. It was scheduled for Wednesday the 8th, sorry. But they've changed the kickoff time to 3 p.m. on a Wednesday. So that would be interesting if you're working for that one. Can you get out of watching that if you're a Borough or a Millwall fan? We spoke about travelling and the lack of hotels, and this is one of the longest journeys left Borough down to Millwall. I went to Charlton versus Borough, actually. They had a fair number of fans there. That was, however, a 3 p.m. kickoff. Let me know what you think about that. A 3 p.m. Wednesday kickoff, indeed. Obviously, no trains or travel or late nights or anyone missing the game due to work to think about. So we'll see. We have Millwall fans in here. Little Crow says, absolute Mickey take only seems to punish the fans who want to watch. Yes, I mean, we could argue that professional footballers who have nothing else to do other than play professional football can cope with a late night. Obviously, they'll likely be playing within 50 odd hours. So Yeah, I can see both sides of that one. Let me know your thoughts in the comments if you are watching on delay. As I said, as we speak, League Two playoffs going on. Colchester Exeter 0-0 at the moment. 5:15 kickoff. Alex, who I believe is a Millwall fan as well, don't really see it matters if they get back at 6 a.m. Oliver's got his tinfoil hat on. Conspiracy theories here. Anything to mess up Millwall's running. There we go. Sandra says, get it right. It's not dinner. What you be getting is tea. Okay, it's tea. I apologise. Bailey says, La Liga games kick off 10 p.m. local time. Different culture over there, but that is dinner time. Don't say dinner, else Sandra will have you in the comments. We'll be behind Millwall for that game. Never thought I'd say those words. James is a Charlton fan. I know that. Why are you asking this? Plucky Chicken, I know this is off topic. I've wondered how tall I am. I'm not very tall. When people meet me and they've watched me on here, they said, I thought you would be taller. I'm not sure. I'm like 5'8.5". He's guessed at 5'8". But yes, I am not a tall man. Sadly challenged in that area. Jim says, getting ready to watch Northampton, only a few miles from the ground. Shane can't be there properly. Jim, I'm here in Bedfordshire. I will happily go and watch a Northampton game if they are promoted to League One, not too far from me. All it will do is affect the amount of people that buy the match and I follow. Yeah, I do agree with Alex on that. Millwall and Borough, I don't know how they split the iFollow. I guess it's all down to Millwall, isn't it? Because they're going to be providing that because it's their stadium. Yeah, they're going to lose money. They are going to lose money. So it does seem that way around. Right. Very, very quickly before we do some questions, let's just throw this up. It says, follow on social media. So Twitter at Benjamin Bloom, Instagram, type Benjamin Bloom in there, and obviously YouTube. Subscribe, ring the bell. I'll do one more here before we do questions. Vote for me. Football Content Awards. You can only do that till midnight, and then I will stop banging on about it. I'll shut up. I promise about the Football Content Awards. Midnight tonight, best in video. The category is vlogger or content creator. And I'll leave the Patreon one up there, trying to make this more of a viable thing. Right. Let's have a look here. Heretic. Any opinions on Hull's inability to keep players on after June? I think it's going to be a struggle for Hull. What was it, 4 or 5 now are not going to carry on after June. They're like rats leaving a sinking ship at Hull, aren't they? Charlie says, Reading fans saying we can only make playoffs. It's annoying. Mid-table is fine. Luiz said it. Yes. Hit the like button. Smash that like, as they say. Jim says, be glad to see some limited crowds. Polish league is having 25% capacity. Interesting to see how that is policed. Here we go. Here's an argument happening. Nick says it is tea. Noel says, what's for tea? I don't know if Shaylee's in the chat. She'll be able to answer exactly what's for tea. Something with spaghetti and balsamic vinegar, bacon, garlic. Do you know what? I went to I was sent to the shop with a shopping list to buy the ingredients, but wonderfully in Victorian style, I'm not cooking it. She's cooking it while I'm doing this. Bless her. Where would I be without her? Will I be doing a review of Hull versus Charlton on Saturday? What time is it, James? I had penciled in Brentford versus Fulham. We'll see. The debate goes on here. Chris says it's dinner. Is it dinner or is it tea? I said dinner and got corrected. Bailey says, any chance I remember Sharon Cherry for QPR? He was an absolute bully. Yes, he was. And he was top of all of their stats, wasn't he? Who said that about Jackson Irvine? I agree. So I'm going to put that there. Jackson Irvine, a decent freebie at Hull. Now, if I was anywhere up to about 7-4, 8th in the Championship, I'd take Jackson Irvine on a free. Good player, can play number 10, good in the air, decent age, experience. Could be a very good free transfer for someone. I agree totally with that. Logan says, am I going to watch Colchester? I'll give it a bit of a look. I'm going to go and watch Hell's Kitchen because that's what we watch when we're eating dinner. Them's the rules, and that's what I'm sticking to it. Tremendous. Sean says, I bet you Bamford calls it dinner. Yeah. Some class wars going on here. Charlie says, do a watch along for Northampton v Cheltenham. Look, I will do a watch along at some point. We're going to try for the first few to do the pre-match, half-time, post-match. That did work well yesterday, so we'll see. Millwall still to play Charlton, Hull, Barnsley, Borough, Huddersfield. We could affect more relegation more than promotion. Indeed. James says that game's kicking off at 3. James, is possibly unlikely. I'll probably try and watch some of it because that's the big one there. But I did even have a ticket for Fulham and Brentford, and I'm doing the Cottage Talk podcast later, so I will be doing Fulham Brentford. Sadly, what a glory hunter I am. Nick says, stirring the pot. When did dinner ladies work? They are not called lunch ladies. Nick says, it's dinner, for God's sake. Deary me. Ken says, when I lived in Sheffield, it was tea. Now I'm in London, it's dinner. I don't want to get involved in this. Lee says, I believe Barnsley have stopped the loan of Malik Wilkes to Hull. Oh, really? I did not know that. He looked quite useful for Hull as well, playing in the free off the front. Am I doing Prem tomorrow? I will do Norwich versus Southampton with the Premier League games. I know I'm Championship Channel. If there's Norwich, Villa, Sheffield United or Wolves there, I'll cover them because I've covered them on the channel before. Bailey says, match predictions, yes. 4 o'clock tomorrow, hopefully. Heretic says, have I got a sore eye? I always get a sore eye. My missus thinks I have hay fever. I won't have it. I did have the fan on. Sometimes when the fan blows in my eye, sometimes my hair goes in my eye. But yeah, I do always get a streamy eye. There we go. Alex says, dinner ladies, bit sexist. I'll leave that one there. And Dan says, we used to call them lunch ladies. There we go. Jim says, I hope Benjamin has retained his Leeds in London live game curse. I have to be at the game for it to be a curse, so it will not happen at all. Baggies, Blues, I don't know what my plans are for Saturday. I need to get permission. I'm pretty sure that I'm doing Fulham Brentford, which is the early game, but let me know. I'd love to do all of them, and Patreon will allow me to do all of them as and when we get enough subscribers that I don't have to work anywhere else, but we're not there yet. Right, look, I've had the dinner warning, the tea warning, the evening meal warning, whatever you want to call it. I will bid you all farewell. Let's remove this flagrant self-promotion on here. Please hit the thumbs up button to allow more people to see the video. I've done all of the plugs for Football Content Awards and Patreon. Social media I will leave up there for the end of the video. I'll say thank you very much. It's going to be busy tomorrow. Very, very busy. I'm going to be on Cottage Talk later on tonight about 9 p.m. I think you can watch that live on Facebook. I will try and do the live stream around 4 p.m. I realise you might have to watch that on delay if you are working at the moment in lockdown. I apologise. And I will do Norwich, Southampton. Same thing, before, after. And please be careful if there's more than one live stream stacked up. Make sure you click on the right one. It needs to say pre-match if we're before match. Right, thank you everybody for watching. Let's give some shout outs to Martin, to Nick, to Charlie, to Martin, to Noel. Should be doing Millwall Derby, says Alex. I'm an honorary lion. Thank you, Lee. Thank you, Little Crow. Thank you, Dan. And I will bid you all farewell and see you very soon. Over and out. Thank you for watching. Thank you for the support. See you either on Cottage Talk tonight, Championship Preview tomorrow, Norwich Southampton, Fulham Brentford. I'll be all over the place. Look, what the hell else is there to do, hey? See you soon. Over and out.